Hey guys, back. Episode, officially this is episode 222, season 2, episode 22. But it is our 50th overall episode here at Out the Top, and Dan came to party.
We're excited, man. Congratulations. Really never thought it'd get this far, but I'm stoked to be here.
I know we keep saying it, but honestly, like I just assumed we'd get bored. You know, I've mentioned a couple times how I'm pretty ADD about things, but um, man, this has been fun.
Yeah, and it's flown by. I mean, it's nothing that's been too draining, I guess to say. Like we it's kind of routine now. We just plan for it every Tuesday night. I just appreciate the dedication from you of doing the production end of things, and that's some kind of behind the scenes stuff that we said we'd probably talk about later. Uh, but you bust ass trying to get this thing produced so it can be released on Wednesday mornings.
Part of it. Um, yeah, we really appreciate everybody who does tune in. And we've said it over and over and over. We appreciate the comments coming up to us at events. Even if it's giving us constructive criticism on the show, that's fine. That just lets me know you're listening.
Right.
And as long as there's people who are listening, as long as people keep telling us they're listening, and as long as the numbers are still there, and let's make no mistake about it, the episodes and the shows are growing. We are doing much better than we were at this point last year, and so that leads me to believe that you guys have got us for a while. So, anywho, we'll get on with the show. Let's get with the formalities out of the way before we get too carried away. Don't forget to go subscribe. We're talking about you guys coming up to us and talking to us about the show. If you don't subscribe to the show, that's the biggest killer. Subscribe. Go get, if you're listening to it on audio, make sure you've downloaded, rate, review, YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell. We're pretty consistent. We try and have these out almost every Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, but hit that bell so you get the notifications. Also, Rock Life Off-Road, new shirts and hats and all kinds of things dropping, Heatwave sunglasses, Pit Viper sunglasses, all that stuff's in the store, on the store. If you're watching on YouTube, you can click the little link down here. That'll take you into either our Rock Life Off-Road hats or Out the Top hats or something like that. But you can get on there and search our whole website and use code Out the Top. Save a little bit of money while you're there. Every piece of merchandise, hats, shirts bought between now and our race July 5th. Every hat, every T-shirt you get, all that is you're going to be entered into our giveaway at the race for a set of SuperGrip tires and SuperGrip beadlock wheels. If you don't want to buy a hat or a T-shirt, get with me. We'll get you entered into that giveaway. It's just it's a raffle. It's $5 a chance. So get with me. We'll either put you in that way or you can buy a hat and I'll throw you in for free. So now the show begins. This past week, dude, I'm telling you, went down to Bristol with SuperGrip.
That's always a good time.
Wearing the T-shirt. If you've never been to an NHRA event, I'm not a big drag race person, but if you've never been to an NHRA event, you need to go check that out. Right. SuperGrip was the title sponsor of the NHRA Bristol Thunder Nationals. I put up a little video on YouTube this week of my Friday down there. Didn't get to stay too long, but man, that is so cool.
Oh yeah.
I hate you didn't get to come, and if they do that next year, we've got to get you up there.
Definitely a good time.
And as the weekend went, our buddy Braden was there, and me and him hung out quite a bit Friday while I was there. But as the weekend went, he kept sending me pictures. Oh, it's just Braden and John Force. Or it's just Braden and Tony Stewart. Or it's Braden and Doug Coletta, just casual, hanging out, like the boys.
Yeah,
Um, Super Grip, they know how to throw a party down there. I mean, they had the run of the place this week.
that's cool.
Yeah, hopefully we get to go down to the fall Bristol race and hang out with them again. But listen, the access that they had this week at the drag strip. Listen, when we were parking, I was riding with one of the Super Grip employees, Dale. Parked over at Super Grip warehouse, and we were just riding over there. And Dale's like, "I wonder where we park." And I was looking at his parking pass, trying to figure out where all these things are. And Dale's like, "Well, let's just pull in here." Turns the wheel. Dale, I don't think they're going to appreciate you putting this Escalade or whatever in the hell we were in the starting lanes. We're sitting in the middle, not the starting lanes, sitting in the middle of the staging lanes, going out to the drag strip. Here comes all these pro mod dragsters and all this other stuff, and then we're just sitting there, just hanging out. Nobody said a
Yeah.
word. And Dale was like, well, they didn't tell me where to go. Yeah, but Dale, we need to leave before they make us. So we pulled a U-E there in the middle of the staging lanes and finally found our parking spot, which was literally right behind the tower. Get out, walk 10 steps, you're in the suites.
That's cool.
It was a pretty good time. They really enjoyed it. Hope everybody pays attention to what they're doing in the motorsports world. Me and Scott had some discussions while I was down there Friday, and I think they're here to stay. So, if you ever get the need, guys, give them a shot for your tires and wheels, for your UTVs, forklifts, or whatever you got. There all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
Down there.
they've got pretty much tires for everything.
Everything but a street car.
Yeah.
And there's way more to them than I even realized, and I'd been around them for a while and kind of knew that, but they've got a lot going on. So what was I was at the races. You couldn't go. I heard something about a wedding. You and Jody didn't run off and get married, did you?
No, I've got to tread lightly around this subject because I was pulled to the side and told not to give too many major details.
Uh-oh.
But no, her and I did not get married, but it was some of her family that was got married, and they specifically reached out to her. And Jody's flamboyant; she wears what she wants to. Her hair's always crazy. Her outfits are always crazy. She just has a good time. Doesn't care what anybody thinks. They personally reached out to her, told her to please no bold colors, and that it was going to be a formal wedding, and that they just stressed no bold colors. So, in typical Jody fashion, she got online and found the brightest hot
Yes.
pink dress, um, and I actually had second thoughts about wearing it, and I was like, oh hell no, I'm dressed to the nines. You're gonna wear that dress, and in typical uh, Jody fashion, she wore it, pulled it off pretty well. We had a good time. Um, I did not appreciate the fact that they kept saying that it was formal, and the brother to the bride was wearing a hunting shirt and Carhartt pants to the formal portion of the wedding. Just blew
Yes.
my mind.
Yes.
But I tell you what, it was a good time. I hate we missed Bristol because Bristol was always a blast, but it was something that we had to go show face at, and uh, had a good time. It was kind of it was it was in northern Alabama, middle of nowhere, real quiet. Got an Airbnb. It was a real peaceful weekend.
That's good. You need a little with all the traveling you guys do, and you guys travel a lot.
All right.
If you're not racing, you're usually gone somewhere doing something, going to the casinos or doing this trip, going here, and y'all have had a busy year.
Yeah, we'd like to go out and see the sights, and um, we work so hard. Like it's usually if we're not out of town, we're working that weekend. I mean, it's just something
Yeah.
we both are self-employed and we have to work to uh, afford to race or to afford to go vacation and stuff like that. And then my mom and dad love the casino, so anytime we get roped into going to the casino, my mom and dad usually plays a big role in that. And a lot of times we just pick a spot just to go hang out for the weekend and see what it's all about.
Well, that's what it. I mean, you gotta get out and enjoy yourself. If you sit at home all the time and do nothing, I don't know. It's just if you stay at home, you'll find a reason to work. Like you said,
Right.
there'll be something to. If you're not working, there'll be something to work on, and
Right.
there's just never any rest. So yeah, you gotta get out. Uh, so anyways, full eventful weekend for both of us this last week. Like I said, I went Friday to Bristol, had to come home. Couldn't stay Saturday and Sunday. Womp womp. Next year, I would like to go back if they do that again. I'd like to go back. I went this year on Friday. I'd like to go back on Saturday. I still don't think I could do a whole weekend.
Yeah, that's a lot. Like it.
That's a lot of
Uh,
drag racing.
even when we went to the fall race last year, we went for the we missed the race Friday night. We were traveling Friday night.
Yep.
We both had to work Friday, but we were there for the race Saturday, and then I think we were there Sunday also for the Sunday race.
No. I think you.
Or
I
was
think
that
that would have been a Saturday night race.
okay? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
yeah. But it seemed like we were there the whole weekend, but we had a blast. They were pretty good hosts. You
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
complain
Yeah.
at all about SuperGrip. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like the whole weekend being at an event. It's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Them drag races, man. They started early and ended late, and they're pretty. The NHRA events are pretty on it. I mean, there's something going down the track constantly.
Right.
Yeah, good time. So another big event that was going on this weekend that we'd failed to mention because I think it was um, a little outside of my radar, anyways.
Right.
Just because of location. They had a big bounty race out in Oklahoma this weekend. $10,000 bounty. And I'm not sure if it was I'm not sure if they had classes or if it was just a bounty or whatnot. I know they had side-by-sides there and a big bouncer. I don't know if they paid what they paid for the side-by-side class, but it was a $10,000 bounty hill. Wes Keene shows up, draws number one, stinks to show up.
Yeah.
I mean, just straight out the top. But the thing that the discussion about that is, when it come up, the video, I made a comment on Busted Knuckles' video because he was the first one to put him out, and like, cool for winning, but I'm personally kind of meh on the bolted tires.
Right.
If you've not seen the picture floating around the internet, Matt posted pictures of Wes's rear tires, and that's some same bolted tires he's been running at these bounty events for years.
Right.
But I'm kind of meh. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not mad. There's no rules against it.
Right.
I don't know how I don't know. It's not, like I said, it's not against the rules. I just don't know if I like it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I just and I saw like a lot of leading up to it. Like I think even Wes posted in there or somewhere online talking about what is your expectations or what do you think the guidelines should be for Bounty Hill, and it got a lot of traction. Well, no pun intended. I didn't even mean that, but
Yeah.
but there was a lot of posts on that, and after I saw the tires, I was like, man, it's like he's running bolted tires, and nobody else is.
And I mean that's I mean, like I said, it's within the rules. Everybody else could have done it if they wanted to. So that's playing the rules. It's just one of those things I don't care for. And not knocking him in any way, shape, or form for it. I don't know. I don't feel like I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, it's
It's
like, well, like since you're such a big drag race fan now, I think the easiest way to put this out there is it's almost like a heads up race, and this guy's spraying nitrous. I'm It's
yeah,
kind of the way it is.
it is. It is. And I don't know. Maybe I would have. I don't know. I think the combination of those and him going first, and it just you can say people can say what they want. Them things chewed that hill. And I mean, it was an old dirt hill with a little rock ledge at the very, very top. And after a couple people run, I mean, there's just you wasn't getting up it.
Right.
But good for him. I mean, he played within the rules and won himself a stack of cash, and that's what it's about. Um, and Busted Knuckle once again, he posted a picture of it again today, and between his original post and from Busted Knuckle Films, and then Matt himself shared it. There was over 500 comments in just a couple hours.
That's wild.
People are on there like talking about it, and a lot of people are for it. It is an unlimited class. Run what you brung. And then you had some people on there arguing for safety. Oh, what if one of them comes out? Well, listen, they're not coming out unless a tire rips in half. You have a better chance of a freaking piston coming out the side of the engine and shooting through the moon as one of them bolts coming out. But like most people were like, hey, give her the beans, bud. Do whatever you got to do. But just me personally, I don't know. Whatever. I could do without it. But yeah, congratulations to him. Taking some bounty money. It's been a while since we've had a. We used to do some bounty racing after the events in the NRA. We don't do that anymore. So it's been a while since I've been to a good bounty event.
Right.
All right, we're going to talk a little bit. We've got we're going to get into a season recap here, mid review, whatever you want to call it. We're going to get into that for a minute. But we said we wanted to talk a little bit about the show. And so we're gonna take a few minutes to pat ourselves on the back for making it 50 episodes. So you talked about it earlier. It does take a lot. You wouldn't think it takes a lot because it is. I mean, it is pretty simple. It is now to come out here and get this done, and but on most Tuesday nights, we come out here and record. It's 9:00. We'll do this till 10:30. I'll go in, put the video together, export the video, pull the audio, upload the video, and it's usually 1, 2 o'clock in the morning before I get done with that, and then off to work at 9 a.m. the next day. So without the people coming up to us, without the messages, and I got another message just this last week from a driver we talked about on the last episode. He was like, "Hey man, appreciate it."
Yeah.
Without that stuff, the motivation will dwindle or could dwindle. But as long as that stuff's coming in,
right,
I'm down. I'll do whatever it takes to get this done. Just this year alone. Last year we recorded all year. We done a few in persons, but we recorded mostly remote. And I recorded at Rock Life. So on Tuesday nights, I'd have to leave home, drive back to town, do it there. And I could have done it at home, but I just didn't have anywhere to do it. I have a small house. I didn't have anywhere to do it. So I'd go back to the shop, do that, and then that would put me even later. So this year we did build this new studio here at the house. So I mean, we've talked about it on here. We've built this place. Finally got the electric and air conditioning going in here. I didn't have to do this. I could have kept going back to the other place, but I want to make it. I want to make it as comfortable on myself and you, so that it doesn't become an annoyance.
Right.
It doesn't become a job, because once it becomes one of those two things, it's over.
Right.
Um, so I really do enjoy putting out on the show. I love the show itself, the back end of it. I'm learning so much doing that. That's helping all of our other videos and things too. I'm learning that stuff from this. So, bring it on. Let's keep rocking and rolling. Maybe we'll make it to 100.
Oh, for sure.
I think we got it.
These past 50 episodes have flown by.
They have. We've been more on schedule this year than we were last year. Last year we were kind of hit and miss and recorded. I think we done 29 last year. We're up to 22 this year already, and we're halfway through the season.
Right.
We're on pace for almost 50 alone this season. So, I mean, I'm pumped.
And to throw a shameless plug in there, that means more episodes. So if anybody wants to jump on board for any kind of sponsorship of the show, we're doing more episodes this year than we have ever. So get up with Brian at Rock Life and see if you can't get that scheduling slot for your business.
You could sell ice to an Eskimo, especially with the tuxedo on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you want to be successful, you've got to pretty much
dress. Exactly. And go ahead.
Yeah, if you want your business to succeed, get on that podcast episodes.
Oh, I can't quit looking at the tuxedo. Okay, for all you guys,
you don't chew Big Red.
Then for all you guys that are listening to the audio, I touched on it at the start of the episode. I said Dan was here to party. He's literally wearing a tuxedo.
Yeah, man. 50th episode.
He is literally wearing a tuxedo. And so I'm a bit distracted. I feel underdressed.
Better be glad I couldn't find the top hat.
Dude, I've got one. I've totally got a real top hat at the shop. Listen, I used to like to party back in my day. Oh, I can't. Oh, it's off the rails. I can't. The tuxedo's too much.
All right. So we talked about 50th episode. What's your favorite episode? Like favorite episode, favorite guest?
I think my favorite episode. Oh man. Wow. I've got a couple.
Yeah.
And neither are from this season actually. I really had fun when we done the big extended episode with Wyatt at Wildcat last year. That was one of our first ones. But I really had fun with that because it was literally midnight. We're sitting in the middle of the Wildcat parking lot. And we talked for so long we had to take a lunch break.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty fun. You don't get to do that all the time. People have stuff to do, places to go. If you get an hour, if you get an hour of somebody's time for what we're doing, that's a pretty good deal. That's right. A lot to ask for somebody, but we sit there for 3 hours and talk to Wyatt. That one was a good one. And as much as we've grown, and I think the show has evolved and changed, I think the very first one we did, because we both had no clue what we were doing.
Yeah.
It was spur of the moment. We didn't really even have any notes. We were just winging it.
Yeah. And,
we were both kind of nervous about what we were doing, not necessarily just doing it, but it's like, is anybody going to listen?
Right, right.
You know, are we just wasting our time? Um, but those two are my two favorites, and then one I enjoyed from this year would have been the one we done in Talladega.
Oh man, yeah, that's mine too.
Yeah.
Like, I I think it's one of those deals. Like, everybody knows Pam Hall in our race industry, and she just so happened to be at Talladega. We jumped her about being on the show if she wanted to kind of help us get some insight to some kind of behind the scenes U4 stuff, King of Hammers, and even like she's been doing some of the Southern Bounty series with
Mm-hmm.
Tony for a little while, so she knew what was going on, and we were just kind of thrown into it. So we didn't know the classes or the scheduling or the point statuses or anything like that. She kind of walked us through that. But when Pam was on the episode, I was like, we fucking made it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't. She didn't know us, or didn't know me, anyways. You may have met her. I'd never met her, talked to her, and super nice. And enjoyed having her on. She was. I would like to revisit if we make it through this season and through next season. We need to revisit with her at some point
Right.
and see what has changed in
Yeah.
her landscape ever since all that went down with Ultra 4 Mid America, things like that.
Right.
Who are who's somebody to you that who's a goal guest, I guess you could say? Who's somebody you want on the show that you want to try and make happen this year?
Man, I know like everybody that's it's like the staple to have Timmy on the show, but like there's so much more to Timmy than, and he's one that I'd like to have on the show just to kind of uh show people that he is personable, and he likes to do stuff outside of just going fast.
Yeah, and he has Timmy actually even messaged us or messaged me back a while and
Yeah.
had mentioned that he had listened to a couple episodes and offered to come on.
Oh,
And so that is we will have him on at some point. I just feel like that needs to be a well planned, well thought out.
right.
Not that I mean, and I'm going to say this. I'm not mean to be rude, but Timmy is very important in our world, and I don't want to just ask him the same stuff he's been asked 47
Right.
times.
Yeah, that's one reason I was saying like kind of more personable stuff,
Yeah.
because the everybody's always asking like what's your favorite buggy you've built, or what you think about this or that or whatever, and it's like, dude's knowledgeable on pretty much anything.
Yeah, I mean, literally anything. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm waiting on the timing for that
Right.
to one to be right and two to feel right.
What about you? Who's your goal guest?
Oh, I don't know. I don't really have a goal guest. I'm more excited about the business of rock bouncing little series we're doing.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I'm very excited for that. I've got the rest of our guests for that episode or that series kind of lined out. There's a couple that we're trying to work out the details on, but I've got the rest of those guests lined out, and I'm not going to tell you who they are, but those are the ones that I'm ready for. I mean, we can talk about races and who won and whatnot and
Right.
all that jazz, but that's the stuff that I feel like gets missed, overlooked a little bit.
Right.
So I'm really excited about those, especially if all works well, what our next two
Yeah.
are going to be. So that's going to be fun. That's my thing. But yeah, I mean, overall, man, it's been fun. Hopefully we can, like I said, hopefully we can keep chugging along. Really appreciate everyone for listening, for giving us a shot. This is just 50, so I'm not going to get too excited. But this is, originally we were thinking of doing, what was it, like 10 or 12 episodes a year
Right.
is all we were going to do. Like after every race, we were going to do an episode. But we got to doing it, and it just didn't feel natural that way. I felt like you lost too much momentum by spacing them out like that. So we're just going to keep pumping these out, and hopefully you guys keep listening. All right, that's enough. Didn't mean to bore you guys with that. Just kind of wanted to talk about the show for a little bit. All right, we're going to move into our season recap for the National Rock Racing Association. Okay. We've had 5 races. We got 5 to go. We went through on the rundown last week and gave everybody their points finishes or point standings, top 3 for every class for the season. So I'm going to start with you. Is there anything that stands out to you? And you don't have to go through all these if you don't want to. But is there any like surprises? Is there like a big somebody that kind of has underwhelmed you this year, or do you have somebody who is
like for our race team, as far as like the season recap, I'm kind of disappointed that I'm not as where I really want to be in the stock class, but I am excited to see that stock class grow and grow. Competition's getting tough in there, but we're going to tighten up things this second half of the season, and hopefully hopefully do a little bit better throughout the season. My goal this season is to just put that full body on the podium at least one time, and I mean just first, second, third, anywhere we land. That's the goal for the season. We went into this season knowing that we weren't going to points chase. We're just having a good time. We're going to just try to race as much as we can, but was hoping to be a little bit further up in points anyway. But it is what it is. We're having a good time. The Cup class, the 2 times I've raced, I I feel like I'm more comfortable in the new car than anything I've ever been in. I feel that I can push that car a lot harder, and probably will once I get a little bit more seat time in. But I'm more disappointed that we hadn't been able to run Bounty this year. I've really missed it, but I just don't feel like sacrificing a newly built car just to race a couple of Bounty races. So uh, we'll pick and choose, but I'm just really excited to see what the future holds for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think man, the stock class has gotten so big. And if you're running, and I may have already said this on here before, if you're running the same speed you were running last year, people are passing you. Just because. And that goes for everybody. I mean, you don't see the same names at the very front every week like you used to see last year. It's even more. It's the field is so much tighter and so much bigger. So yeah, that class, man, it takes it's going to take a hot tune and a heavy foot to stay up in that class, and then the unlimited class is the same way. It is. I feel like this is probably the most competitive, top to bottom, that class has been in a long time. I mean, it usually, I can say that I feel pretty comfortable saying that, in years past, the top 5 in that class was really competitive, and then you had the rest.
Right.
This year, I feel like you have the top 8 or 9 guys, and then you have the rest.
Right.
Um, and listen, it doesn't sound like a big number, but that's almost double,
Right.
of what it has been in years past. So if you're getting consistent top tens in the cup class this year, that is nothing to hang your head on, because
Right.
them cats is booking. It's tight. Um, all the classes are, man. All the UTV classes, all the big bouncers. Everybody's really tightened up this year, and I want to blame it on Timmy, but listen, he don't run stock class and he don't run bounty,
Right.
so that ain't his fault. You know, uh, but we did have Cody Kaysen jump back into stock class. He is extremely fast.
Right.
And if you're going to keep up with that kid, you're going to have to wheel. You're going to have to drive. That goes for everybody. The unlimited class, Timmy jumped back in it. Clay was already fast. Timmy jumps back in. So you got them two pushing each other. And then that means everybody else has just got to drive even harder to catch up with them.
Right.
So I mean it's tight. But for the rest of the season, is there anybody like I said, is there anybody that you thought would be doing better, or
Man,
who is somebody who you wasn't expecting to do good, and here they are?
well, I'll tell you, two of them. One I would that I had thought would do better, and I think he's just had a run of bad luck. Is Jay Store in the stock class? Like, man, I've seen him do things in that full body that I didn't think was capable. I saw him at Blue Holler last year berm the side of a rock cliff. I didn't think that thing was going to make it up. His first one tried it, and I think there was only like two or three that was able to pull it off. But he's had some bad luck this year. But I felt like we'd see him on the podium more in the stock class. But as far as like most improved, man, I've got to give that to Brantley Havens.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. He's come a long way in his three races, and I talked to him about that at Hawk Pride. Like you
Man,
can definitely see a big difference.
he had a save at Hawk Pride. That thing bicycled on him, and anybody else would have lost it. And I don't know how he drove out of that, but I mean he did it without a bat of an eye. I don't know that he even let out of the car.
Me and Dustin was talking about this, and it when we were watching it live and in person, it seemed like that was really slow.
Yeah.
Like we seen it getting up on two wheels, and then he rode it what seemed like forever, and then he laid it back on its wheels and then drove out. But when me and him were watching the video, it was like a split second.
Right.
It was so quick, and I'm like, there's no way what I watched and what that video shows is the same thing.
Yeah.
And Dustin was like, no, dude, I'm the same way. He said, it was like happening in slow motion for me, too. And I was like, this is unreal, because I watched the video, and I was like, that's sped up. It has to be sped up. And he's like, no. We were just so focused on watching his run that I guess time slowed down for us.
Right.
For me, though, I tell you, oh, man, Jay's had a rough year in the stock class and bouncer class.
Yeah.
I was expecting he had a rough year last year in like I said, the stock class, whatever. It's tough. And if you're not adapting in that class, if you're not long traveling and you're not putting E85 on it, and you're going to get outrun. But in the bouncer class too, like with the bad luck that he had last year in the bouncer class, I really was hoping he would come back in this year and have some better runs. But that buggy to me there's something just not there.
Right.
And I don't know what it is. but it seems like it's screaming for its life and it ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
And then the shocks just seem hard and stiff, and it just doesn't want to work. But I don't know if I don't know, and I may be talking out of my ass here. I really don't know. I'm just from what I'm observing, it looks like it's not getting drove hard enough for the suspension to work.
Yeah, and I'm I'm not real big on how some of that works, but I overheard somebody talking about how uh, some of these shocks you've got a low speed and a high speed,
Mm.
and that if you're not running at least 25 miles an hour, then it's considered a low speed on the shock side. And I think, you're right. I feel like it's one of those things that he may not just be driving the car hard enough to get the full advantage of his shock displacement, if that makes
Well,
sense.
that's kind of what it looks like to me. But the thing is, like to me, it looks like he's driving it as hard as he can.
Yeah,
It's whining the guts out of it. It just doesn't go, and
right.
I don't know what the reasoning is. I don't know. I don't know nothing about them big bouncers other than they make real loud whoop owls and climb real big hills, and they're fun to watch.
And there,
But yeah, for me, that's uh, kind of a bit of a disappointment. I was really hoping that he would have a better season. Uh, for, man, I don't know. Nothing else really like is drawing. No one person, I guess. The Dan Bowman's having a good year.
yeah,
Clayton is getting better. Clayton Smith's getting better in the Gold Rush. Um, those guys, if they stay after it and continue racing, they're going to be tough. Um, there's just a lot of cool stuff going on, and it's just you never know what to expect.
right.
What's been your favorite event of the year so far?
Man, it's a toss up between Rush and Hawk Pride. I tell you, the course at Rush was pretty fun. I knew that we'd be going first in that, so I was actually able to hold on to first place a little bit longer there than I was at Hawk Pride. Um, Hawk Pride, I was the first one that had to jump off Maverick, so that was a cool accomplishment because I knew that if I didn't do that, I'd have no chance at all for top 10. And just knowing that the was able to take that drop, and uh, it surprises me more and more when I drive that car. Like stuff that I know that a 64-inch car couldn't handle, that car just eats it right up.
It's amazing how just that much.
Right. Yeah, but I don't know. I really like the down section, and that's something that I've always struggled with. Is it just feels unnatural to come off of a ledge fast or downhill fast on purpose, and kind of the whoop. I say the whoops, but it's more like the trenches that were on the downhill at Rush. It's one of those things. The faster you hit them, the smoother it was,
Mm.
and it was neat just to see the car be able to soak that up, and that was pretty enjoyable to me.
Rush was Rush was definitely a driver's course. I mean, it was go. It was fun to watch. Uh, I want to like Windrock, and hopefully Clyde gets some for finals or for let me back up. Not finals, not finals. Finals is at frick. Here we go. Wild Rock.
There you go.
I cannot get those two straight. Finals is at Wildcat. I hope he gets the event area at Windrock straightened out so we can have some more hill choices
Right.
because that place draws a really good crowd, and I want the racing there to be even better than it is. Wildcat's always a good time. I'm like you though. I like Rush. For us, Rush. I mean, we couldn't have had a better vendor area spot. Literally could sit in the trailer and see every bit of it. But dude, as far as rock bouncing goes, it's hard to beat Hawk Prod.
Yeah.
If you want to see some good old fashioned just carnage, Hawk Pride I feel like is as close to Bikini Bottoms as we're ever going to get again.
Right. Yeah, and it's old school rock bouncing. I mean, we're rock bouncing up the hills, rock bounces down the hills.
Yep. That was a good show. That's what I like. And the hills they're not massive.
Right.
They're just in your face, freaking gnarly, just right there.
Right.
You know, it's not like the old Windrock Hill where you're 300 foot in the air and tumble down for a half a mile. You know, if you flip off of something in Hawk Pride, you're going to flip and it's going to hurt, but you're probably only going to do it once.
Right. Yeah. You don't have that repetitive 5 roll.
Yeah.
Like thought in your head, is this thing going to stop anytime soon?
Yeah. I like Hawk Pride the more I see it.
Yeah.
So, with all that being said, at the start of the season, me and you and Kenneth Cozine made picks for our top 3 for each class for the year. Now, we're going to review those picks and see how close we were. But
Man, I had forgotten about that, and I think our bounce picks were going to be.
yeah, I lost you there for a second. Your bouncer picks were interesting. You see my professional notebook here? This is a State Farm envelope.
That's what I was like. I feel like my picks be terrible.
The bouncer picks were. So anywho, we've got to make a game out of this somehow or another.
Yeah.
So I devised a little point system for our picks, and this is kind of how it works. Right, wrong, or indifferent. If it makes sense, that's great. If it doesn't, I don't care. But I made a point system, and whoever gets the most points wins something, I guess. I don't know. But I had to find a way to judge us on our picks. So if your pick was correct, like if you hit it on the nose, you got 0 points for that pick, which is good. If if say you picked Timmy Cameron to finish first, and he finished 6th, right? Then you got -5.
Right.
And if you picked Cooper to finish 3rd, and he got 1st, then you get 2 points because he actually exceeded your
Right.
Which it kind of isn't fair because you can only go up 2 spots, but you can go down a long way.
Yeah.
With our picks here. And if you were lucky enough to get all 3 right, then you got a 10-point bonus. So there's our point system. It's stupid. It makes no sense. I done it in about 5 minutes before we started recording. So we're going to start with your picks for the UTV stock class. Now, you picked Cody Kaysen, Brandon Davis, and Daniel Heckley as the top 3. Do you know what the top 3 is in the stock class right now?
I think I'm pretty close.
I think you're dead on. Cody, Brandon, and Daniel is your top 3. So you got all 3 of those so far. Dead on the money, which gave you 10 points. Cozine had Brandon, Daniel, and Jay, so he was close. The Jay pick kind of hurt his points because, like I said, Jay's been struggling. Cozine gets a -9 for the stock class. I also had Brandon, Jay Storts, and Daniel Heckley. The J pick killed me, so I get a -8. So for the stock class, you're ahead so far. If Cozine was here, I would ask him. You know, he's pretty close with Brandon and Daniel. If he wanted to change that third pick, I'd let him and see where it shook out. And for me, I didn't think Cody was going to come in and be this fast.
Yeah, I think he's throwing a lot more power to that car.
Oh,
He's going to be hard to beat.
he's going to be hard to beat. So yeah, if I could reshuffle, yeah, he's going to be tough to beat. Bounty class. I mean, you done pretty good on these. Bounty class, you had Casey Howell, Nathaniel Bell, Josh Krupinski. We have Madison as your points leader. Josh Krupinski's second, and Casey Howell's in third. So that left you with a -2 score for the bounty. I had Casey, Josh, and Nathaniel. Me and Cozine both had Casey, Josh, and Nathaniel. Both gave us a -3. So you're still leading. And I still think any one of those, I think that could be your podium. Madison is leading right now. She could end up winning.
I definitely feel like she's going to be on the podium at the end of the year.
It's a 4-horse race, really. And it just depends on how the heels shake out. You know, another DNF for anybody, and it changes the whole game. So it's a 4-horse race in that bounty series. Cup class, UTV Unlimited Cup class, you had TC, Clay, and Cooper. Cozine had Clay, TC, and Josh Krupinski. Josh has only run. He actually had two third place picks. He picked Josh and Nathan King. I gave him the benefit of a doubt because Nathan King has more points for the season than Josh Krupinski because I think Josh has only run one race. So we let him have Nathan. Then I had TC, Clay, and Cooper. So you had a -2, Cozine -11, and I had -2 points as well. So, me and you pretty close on that. And then bouncers, you had TC, Brandon Davis, and Bubba Bacon.
Yeah.
He's not even building the car.
All right. So I get the Bacon mixed up. Tim was building the car. Don't know why I said Bubba, but he still let us down because, man, he only ran one. I think you said he smoked an engine. That's tough luck, but yeah, he definitely was going to be my top 3. I thought he was coming back with a vengeance, and it just.
Yeah, you missed that one. Cozine had TC, Brandon, and Clint, which is up until this last week was pretty daggone close.
Right.
And then I had TC, Daniel, and Brandon. So you had a -17 for the bouncer class. That's bad, Dan.
Yeah.
Cozine had a -7, and I had a -6. So if you add all of our points up together, that stock class sweep you got saved you, according to my very sophisticated points schedule here. You have the lead so far this season with a -10. Cozine with a -30, and well, I'd put him in third place, and I have -20. So I hope somebody screws up your stock class bracket.
I tell you what, though, you said that'd be a good game. I like that, and I think what we need to do is we need to open up options for next season, put a little money on it, and invite all the drivers to come in and pick their picks.
Ooh. We're going to have to get a better points schedule than what I've got here. I literally made this on an envelope 5 minutes before we recorded because I was supposed to do this today, and I forgot. So this is what I came up with. So yeah, this makes it a little game. I'm going to hang on to this, and then we'll put that in the note stack, and then we'll come back at the end of the year and see how much it's changed, if any. Poor old Cozing. That unlimited cup pick of his ruined him, and Clint let him down. Clint was in 4th going into Hawk Pride and dropped to 7th.
Man, that was a tough weekend. That was a tough course. Man,
Yeah, that let him down. But yeah, that's pretty fun. We'll revisit that at the end of the season, and we may adjust. I may have to think about this points deal a little bit more between now and then. But I felt like 1s, 2s, and 3s were going to be pretty easy to math there last minute. So simple task for simple minds. What else, buddy?
we got the race coming up July 5th.
So we are up to $1,200 guaranteed money for the winner. If we get 10 chassis show up, Dan's putting in $500. That'll be $1,700. And then we've got still almost an entire month. At least the biggest part of 3.5 weeks before that race. So we're really going to get into this raffle deal and try and make some more money for your winner. Haven't even really promoted it very much around the shop. But like I said, if you want to get in on that raffle for the SuperGrip tires and wheels, $5 a chance, message me, or you get 5 for 20. Or, hear me out, buy a Rock Life Off-Road, Dan Carter Racing, or Out the Top Media hat, t-shirt, hoodie. If you buy one of them, I'll throw you in for free. I'll put in the $5 for you. So do that. That way you got something to wear for your ticket. You do not have to be present to win. However, if you do win, it's your responsibility to get them. So everybody get in on that. Man, I look forward to that race. I did have some people concerned about that race because anybody who has seen some of the videos of that, it can be tight turns and things like that, and the chassis are not real good with tight turns. So I've been talking to the guy that is building the course, and I'm going to be out there with him all day on Friday working like I said I wasn't going to. And I'm going to go out there and work and try and make the course as friendly as I can for the UTVs, keeping in mind that there's 4 other classes going to have to run the same courses. So we're going to work to make sure you chassis guys have room to turn. But dude, I think that's going to be a good show. It's usually one of our bigger draws for our little fair out here. It starts at 7 on July the 5th, 7 p.m. Be there early if you can. Traffic gets a little hairy getting in and out of there. You're liable to have to sit in traffic. It's a 2-lane road getting in there. So, yeah, get there as early as you can if you plan on coming to that event. We probably actually won't get started till closer till 8:30. I would say 8:30, but you still want to be there in plenty of time to get registered. Don't want to leave nobody out. And if you got a chassis and a full body, or your buddy's got a chassis, you can enter as many times as you want in a different machine. So I did have some people ask about that. So if you got a chassis and a full body, bring them both. Enter them both. We don't care. Just more entry fees. We got all night, baby. There ain't no curfew. We got all night long. But yeah, that's going to be a good time. So if you can, come out, support our little race we're putting on July 5th, Monticello, Wayne County Park, Wayne County Fair and Horse Show. Bring the kids. They can ride the rides. You can go up there and get you a fried Snickers or Twinkie or funnel cake or whatever it is that they have in those daggone trailers. It'll be a good time. Between now and then, West Virginia, still undecided about that. If I'm going or not, I'll know the week of. But nonetheless, that's going to be a good show. So our next race is going to be West Virginia, the Good Evening Ranch. Is that what it's called?
Is it?
Yes, Good Evening Ranch in Canvas, West Virginia. It's a really cool place. It's going to be, if we run where we run last year, it's going to be interesting once again for big bouncers and UTVs. So get there early, stay late there too. All right, guys, that's it for episode 222, our 50th episode of Out the Top. We're going to take off next week, regroup, and then we're going to come back the week before the West Virginia race, and then you're going to have us pretty much the rest of the season. We may have another week or two off between now and the end of the season, but you'll have us pretty much the rest of the year. So we are going to take off next week. We'll be back the week after that. Be on the lookout on the YouTube channel. I've got a bunch of videos that are going to be coming out throughout the next couple weeks. Since we're not doing any podcast, I'll have a little time to get some editing done and get some race footage up and out. Guys, appreciate everything. Remember to subscribe, share, tell your friends, send a postcard, do something. And don't forget your tuxedo.
That's it.
Bye.
See y'all.